And we're so close to 500. If 23 more people just told like their grandpa to turn on the stream, we'd be there. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mother, tell your brother, tell everyone to turn on twitch.tv/Age of Empires.
Yep.
So close.
They are. Also, let's get into this next game quickly before everyone disappears, because that happens during transition.
Don't go in. Don't leave. This is the real moment of truth, though. Will Soldier play the Japan mirror? Because H2O is going to play Japan. That we know.
H2O has selected Japan. That is certainly
India.
the case.
I think we'll see India from Soldier.
Do you think so? Yep. Obviously, Japan, a very strong civilization on a map like Siberia that has a lot of hunt and is very sort of wide in the sense that you can build shrines on either side of the map, and it's difficult for your opponent to take them out, since, of course, they'll have to run around this entire massive map. Whereas on maps that are perhaps thinner, you don't have that. Perhaps Japan, not as good on those style of maps. But, you know, you called it, Zuda. There's the India.
I more so called the player, right? Because I know that Soldier plays India. I know that's one of his go-to civs.
That's true. It's certainly a civilization he's very strong with. I think it can compete with Japan here.
Oh yeah.
But H2O's Japan is a force to be reckoned with, and I like how he plays it in Game 3 just before it gets reset. Well, actually, that's not true. We have to go up to Game 4 before it gets reset. I'm going to update the score though. It is currently 1-1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Saturday No. This is the Spring Championships. The quarterfinals, game number 3 in this best-of-7 series. The score is currently 1-1. I am not recording with Camtasia, definitely, so we're going to have to use Zuta's VODs from the stream. We don't want to... I think maybe this... I don't know. Well, I think it's just best to... Good practice to not record these high competitive matches where any sort of lag, maybe my processor spikes up to 90% for like half a second in the middle of a fight or something. We don't want any of that stuff. We don't want any lag at all. Very competitive matches. I'm just going to repeat this now that perhaps we have a few more viewers than last. H2O, possibly one of the best players of all time. Certainly competed in the 2007 and won the 2008 World Cyber Games for Age of Empires 3, the Asian Dynasties expansion. And after that was regarded as one of the stronger players there ever. And went away for a long time. Yeah, it's the map. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's
like, the hunts really need to be perfectly fine. We're not afraid to do restarts. Okay, is good. Map is good, absolutely. Yeah, we're very happy to restart if one player has perhaps better, more fair hunts. Fairer hunts than someone else, perhaps.
Sure.
That is true. But it looks looking good. But yeah, H2O, a very strong player is what I'm saying. Went away for a long time, has come back, and some people were skeptical. Maybe, maybe he's a bit rusty, out of shape, but clearly not the case. He's undefeated in Saturday SmackDown currently, and only lost his first game in this series. Up until now, has been undefeated. But playing as Japan, a very strong civilization on this map, which we'll talk about a bit later on. But let's introduce our opponent, SoldieR. Somebody from back in the day, has been around for a very long time, since the dawn of AoE 3. Certainly very good at all of the Age of Empires games as well. Very strong at Age of Mythology, and indeed for Age of Empires Online. May peace. Rest in peace, Age of Empires Online. Age of Empires Online.
Forgotten.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see that return one day as like a special thing that happens. I don't know, who knows. But SoldieR, very good player overall. Certainly a worthy opponent. Is the first person to beat H2O in this tournament. Certainly very competent. But here he is in the south of the map in the color red, playing as the Indians. And I felt like I had to say this again, despite the fact I haven't said it, because we are at peak viewers right now, hoping to break the 500 mark.
What the hell is going on out here?
What is this villager doing?
I'm not sure.
Wow.
It's a big mistake, though, for sure.
Perhaps he rallied it over there by mistake or something. I don't know. What does he want? Is he guarding the 85 wood treasure? Get a guarantee that there's something there that can pick it up. That's a lot of wood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this could be an interesting move. Guarantee that there's.
I guess he's gonna use it to help build on the aggro, maybe. I don't know. He also spent a lot of time going down here. He's actually 9-10ing, interestingly enough. It was a coin crate start, and so he's actually opted to go with a 9-10.
The 9-10. Okay, traditionally you 10-10 was where you do not build any population because you don't have any. Well, you just spend all the wood on making villages. But here, with the coin crate start, doesn't have the wood for a 10-10. A 9-10. This is really off the cuff.
Yeah, it's super.
Ooh, that wood treasure
super
though.
Aggressive.
Look at that.
Yeah.
The Guardian's about to die. The elephant's very close by.
Yeah,
Oh, the villager in there as well.
Stomp.
Wow.
Lucky stomp. No.
H2O grabbing himself there. I don't know. Soldier not too happy about that.
Soldier has lost so much. Like he also sent this villager down here to herd really early, and that's a long trek from his base that he had to run there.
Yeah.
Like he's asking for a restart, and rightly so. Like things have gone fairly poorly for him from the start of this game.
He does not get a restart. That's not how it works. He's not going to be too happy. Oh no, yeah, that was a long way away.
That's a long way away.
It's gonna slow him down.
He's really far behind. H2O's had a really good start. I don't know. Maybe just the nerves getting to him a little bit. He is still going to have a. He's going to have a forward aggro fort. He's going to have some time to maybe apply a little bit of pressure against H2O, but certainly his eco is not going to be nearly as strong as H2O's is. It's not going to be nearly on par with the Japanese eco. And everything's just feeling a little slow and drawn out here from the India player. Just everything feels a little slow, and I don't know. It's Siberia. It's Japan's map. This is.
Yeah, I mean, rushing Japan on this map is tough because well, I think I mentioned. Well, I think I mentioned before the game started, but certainly a very big map indeed, where it's very, very wide, so you can put shrines absolutely everywhere. And some on this side of the map, some on the other side of the map, so I say over here, and just like getting them all is pretty tough. And obviously if you're going to be 9-10ing, which is not as good as a 10-10 inherently, especially if you have to walk a long way to herd and you have villages in awkward spots and stuff like that, I don't know, it's looking tough. But still, he is aged up, he is very far ahead in terms of age time. Can he make it work? But, you know, he doesn't feel too confident, clearly, as clearly he's been saying. But,
and also, H2O did a good
that
job
tower
of,
in his base.
He's realized that, like, that he's up against a 10-10, and we can just see as a result of the 10-10, just throwing up this defensive wall, keeping his trees that he's going to need to make the Umi Archer transition super, super safe. He's got that tower really well defended now as well, going to be able to add in lots of extra DPS. His building positioning with the consulate and the market kind of protecting his right flank very nicely. We can see the barracks going down, helping to protect his right flank as well. Everything in his base just very well encapsulated with this wall and arc of all of his buildings. And I don't know, it's going to take a lot out of Soldier to actually get into the base for the Japanese player here, and that being said, like, it's not like H2O's really had to sacrifice his economy. He's still at 80 shrine pop, and
wow, yeah.
It has
and these Gurkhas aren't very good at sieging either. This, yeah.
And he's got the upgrades coming. 600 wood on its way, and this is going to be tough for Soldier moving forward here.
It is, yep. Wow, that's taking a long time to go down. I don't know. This is looking tough, but see what he can do. Maybe he can pull some pressure up. Maybe get a lucky raid in or something. But I don't know. This seems unlikely against Japan, who has berries literally next to their town center, almost unraidable. Yeah. And certainly this map is tough to bring down the shrines, especially if you're making cucumbers, which don't really have very much siege attack. Those Gurkhas.
Yeah, certainly I guess at least Soldier didn't do like the PR22 thing, which would be to just like ship 5 support and just like headlong underneath the town center. At least he still had the presence of mind to ship 600 wood. He is still going to try and control the game the best he can, and he is going to try and at least play some sort of a macro build behind this, which is obviously the right choice in this particular map. Maybe he can even get in a cheeky age up. We can see he's starting to stockpile resources. Potentially we'll just see some sort of 600 coin build come up here. And you know, maybe he can get lucky with like a good Mahout shipment or something like that. Catch some Yumis out in the middle of the map where they shouldn't be. Crazier things have happened, but
yeah.
We'll have to see. It's certainly not in a super great spot here. I'm curious to see what his next shipment will be. I think that'll be very telling as to how he's going to
300 export.
300
there
export.
it is.
All right. So he's just going to play it the more standard eco style. Just going to try
get that
and
consulate down,
get
ally
the
with the
consulate
Ottoman,
going, ally with the
get
Ottoman.
that 4 vills out,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I still do wonder whether or not we'll see some sort of semi-FF out of him, and whether or not it'll just be like a more eco-based semi-FF, but there still is that potential. We'll have to see. I mean, it's just gonna he gets to pick here, right? Japan is definitely going to be playing in the reactive situation here. Japan doesn't really get to pick what he's going to do. He kind of just has to base his gameplay off of what India is going to do. And if India stays in age 2 and continues to boom, then he stays in age 2 and just tries to stay a step ahead of him and boom as well. So that's what he's doing right now. And doing a fine job of that. We can see he's up to 130 shrine pop, and I would assume very strong market upgrades. Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, he's got Imperial Bureaucracy
already done.
Yeah, and all of the others as well. SoldieR now getting his Imperial Bureaucracy as well, but that's only just coming in, whereas, of course, H2O's has been active since the 7-minute 30 mark. 4 villagers, though, have just arrived, and now they're even on villager pop. So it's looking okay. SoldieR's got a reasonable economy here, but you have to remember, 130 shrine population. There's 12 shrines, right, if you discount the 10 pop that the town center gives you. That's a lot of shrines, and they're doing some work, considering that they're gathering 0.5 wood per second each.
It's definitely not something...
They're like a villager each. That's essentially what they are.
It's definitely not great news. But we'll have to see. I'm still curious, when is the 600 coin going to come from SoldieR? I feel like that should be the next shipment. That feels like, with how few units he's making, right? He's just not committing a lot of his resources into making units. We can see he's consistently floating 1,000 wood, sitting around 300 coin, which really makes me feel like that he wants to age. And so that's why I'm a little surprised we saw the diplomatic intrigue shipment, and there's the 600 coin. So it looks like he is going to be aging up, and we'll see whether or not H2O ages up behind this, or whether or not he just tries to push out. We can see he's taken himself a trading post. He's finishing up his shrine population. Like, he's in an absolutely phenomenal position in terms of economy. He's certainly up 31 military population.
Daimyo arriving behind that as well. They're going to be very strong with the passive upgrades that guy gives you. Plus, he's a strong unit anyway.
Oh yeah, and the Daimyo shipment. So I guess that means that H2O is likely going to just try and push out here.
SoldieR does pull the trigger though on the age up here. If H2O pushes out, along with the position that he already has, that's going to be pretty tough. Though this map is quite long. I don't know. Is he going to get away with this age up?
I don't know. It's really tough. Look at the military discrepancy. I mean,
that's
a 40 military discrepancy. The one maybe saving grace in all this is there's not a lot of siege potential in H2O's army just right now. He's only got primarily Yumi archers and these couple of cav, which doesn't present itself with a high amount of siege. So he's not in threat of just like losing his aggro fort or losing his town center. He's more in threat of just losing a big overwhelming fight. But he can dodge around that fact that he doesn't really want to fight for quite some time here, probably still, and might be able to get to the point where he can get aged up. And if he can get in the Mahout Lancer shipment, like I mentioned earlier, and get those, just get some sort of really good surround with those and get those right in the middle of the Yumi, maybe he'll have a chance. But I think H2O has sniffed out the fact that his opponent is likely aging, adding in a second barracks here, and you know what I said the previous game we saw Japan. When in doubt, Ashy out, and that's the point. That's the point Japan's at right now. He can just flood Ashies, and if he just floods Ashies across the map, it's really going to neutralize most of what India can do in the third age.
It's true, but as you mentioned, if those Mahouts do come out, there's not so many Ashies yet. Mahouts certainly, got that 3 Mahout shipment if you can somehow get that out. Those things absolutely insane against crossbowmen. And those style units, Vesterios / Yumi Archer, could be if he gets that nice surround. SoldieR up to Fortress. How much food does that shipment cost though?
1,000 food.
That's a very
or 600 for 200 or for 2 of them.
Yeah. We'll see what he can do, but H2O has just arrived at his opponent's base in time for dinner. The Fortress Age banquet has just arrived. Look at all those resources on the floor. Not going to let his opponent collect those up. Of course, that's what he aged up with the Kanimata.
You can tell he's being a bit careful though. He doesn't want you don't want to commit right underneath the town center, right? Because like the last thing you want is all your Yumis standing around a town center and then 3 Mahouts does pop out on top of them.
Yeah, that
like,
would be.
I think H2O realizes that's like one of his only losing conditions, right? Is if he somehow by some miracle.
2 Mahouts have arrived though.
Where are they?
There they are at the tower.
I see. Yeah, it looks like you just had the resources for 2 of them. Are they 300 or 600? I think maybe they're only 300 resources because I don't think he ever had 600.
Yeah.
I think they're only 300.
The Ashies are piling in now, and the more Ashies that arrive, and in pulling the clubman from the consulate as well, also very good against cavalry. I don't know, that perhaps that window was passed, or perhaps never even existed, considering that H2O timed this so well to have enough anti-cav just as he's under the base, as the Mahouts are to be expected.
Yeah, and
he's gonna have to take this soon. Look at the houses; they're going down so quick.
You can't afford to just bleed out here. Certainly can't afford just to bleed out and let everything go. If you take a look at the shipments, we also do have Yumi archer attacks. So the Yumis combined with the extra DPS from the Daimyo as well.
26 range damage. Pulls the trigger though, going in with 2 Mahouts on the side. Another 2 have been chipped as well. This is looking good, but they're up against clubmen and things like that. Lots of Ashies. I don't know if it's really going to be enough, but certainly calling the sentries as well. Had to take it. Cannot lose these 2 houses. Look at them, such low hit points. Left it to the very last moment, but I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, there's just too much DPS. Yumi's still standing strong. Too many Ashies. H2O with just a flood of resources, units coming across the map. And we can just look at the military population, 75 versus 23. This is certainly going to be game. There's really no way that SoldieR can recover from this position, being this far behind in terms of economy and military. Despite the fact that he is aged up, he does have a tech advantage, but it's not really going to matter in the grand scheme of things.
What if he got up with the Tower of Victory for the inspiration ability instead of the Karnimata, where really the economy bonus it's giving his villages isn't very significant, and the resources he's been unable to collect up? What if he had that extra attack?
Yeah, or maybe more importantly, if he would have aged up with Charminar Gate and would have gotten an extra Mahout answer as well, certainly could have been beneficial.
That would have been really good.
I don't know that in the grand scheme of things, that little bit of difference would have made any difference. The Urumi did pop out from the Agra Fort just before it went down, but unfortunately they popped out right into the cab and they got very quickly neutralized. And there's the resign. Game number 3 going to H2O.
Game number 3 going to H2O, absolutely. The score is 2-1. We did break the 500 mark, by the way. 509.
Did we?
Those monkeys.
Good for us.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Thank you very much for watching, though. We do have Game 4 coming up right about now. Still a close series. 2-1 in H2O's favor after a pretty solid victory by SoldieR in his first game, actually. That was quite nice. So, still all to play for, but certainly we have said H2O perhaps a difficult opponent to catch up against. Anyway,
he just found himself in a big hole, and to be fair, he did an okay job of stabilizing after finding himself in that big hole. But H2O is the kind of player you make one mistake against, and a mistake of that scale against, and you're going to find yourself like it's just really, really hard to catch back up after you get in that kind of a hole, especially against just Japan in general. Like getting behind in that nature is very, very difficult.
There is that. All right. Next game coming up. Let's get into this one before we lose our audience. Wow, look at the everybody's host. Everyone's just got in the game browser. It's just written there. I hope that's going on vanilla as well. Like I'd really be pleased if it was. That's incredible. So much support from the community behind this tournament. Very nice to see. But next match coming up. SoldieR playing Japan on this one. On Pampas, of course. H2O cannot play Japan, nor any other civ that he has played so far in this series. They are all disabled. SoldieR has the option to. We'll see what H2O switches over to.
I'm going to call Dutch.
Dutch versus Japan.
Because he can't play Brit, he can't play French. I don't think... He doesn't rate China very highly.
I just got in the chat,
India,
somebody...
of course. Well, why
India.
Think of that? Okay.
Oh, okay. We'll have the reverse matchup. But yes, let's go a quick shout out to esocommunity.boards.net, which is where we are sort of administrating this tournament from. H2O actually called the previous game. He private messaged me and said he's playing aggressive in before either 10-10 or 12 Sepoy with 4 on aggro. Like, he knew it before it even started, what was going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 4 in this best of 7 series between H2O and SoldieR for, of course, the Spring Championships quarterfinals. Absolutely. The score is currently 2-1 in H2O's favor. We'll start with him, possibly the strongest player of all time, certainly competed in the 2007, won the 2008 World Cyber Games, and after that was regarded as a good player, went away for a long time, came back, was a bit of skepticality, if that's a word, over whether he was good or not, but certainly has not become rusty, certainly very strong and leading this set. In fact, the only game he's lost in this tournament so far is the one in this series. Here he is, playing as India. Absolutely.
Abso-frickin-lutely.
Yep, and one elephant heading out straight over to this side of the map, of course, where all the llamas spawn. Each player knows this spawn off the map, whilst the other is picking up a 70 food treasure on his own. Not too bad, but certainly wants to grab as many llamas as possible, because, of course, these are XP, that's what it gets for free. Equally, Japan, well, let's introduce him. Here he is, SoldieR, equally a very good player as well. Certainly been around for a long time, and is a very strong player. The only player to take a game off H2O in this tournament so far. Certainly very strong. Sending his monks up this side to grab as many llamas as possible. Those are going to be very useful. Put them on his big shrine. But playing the Portuguese, well, allying himself to the Portuguese, I'm sure, at the consulate. Saved myself there. Playing the Japan. There we go. This is the matchup we just saw, but in reverse.
Yeah. I've never seen SoldieR actually play Japanese, so I'm very curious to see how he plays Japan. I mean, every player at some point, every PR35 plus player has played every civ and knows how to play every civ to some degree, but when I think of SoldieR, I think of Germany, and I think of India, and I think of French. Those are like the 3 civs that I think of when I think of SoldieR. And we've seen him play those civs, right? We've seen him play French, we've seen him play Germany, and we've seen him play India. And so now it'll be interesting to see how moving forward in this best of 7, how now when the depth of the players' civ pools are tested a little bit more. Certainly I've seen like someone like Kiljardi, who we just previously watched, has historically basically ran the book on the civs that he's able to play. He has demonstrated that he's been able to play basically every civ at a high level at some point, but I haven't actually ever seen SoldieR play Japan, so I'm curious to see how well he plays Japan, especially...
Look at this elephant coming in, picks up the 90 coin treasure. SoldieR not going to be too happy about that. H2 has recovered Quicksilver worth 90 coin, which SoldieR should have gotten, actually, but wow, that's pretty nicely done.
Yeah.
Sorry. I always... I feel like I've ruined your flow after putting that.
No, it's perfectly valid. Like, it's important to mention, because it's more important. I just tend to ramble sometimes and thinking the theoreticals a bit too much, and...
Theoreticals are equally as important.
Well, maybe not as much, so it doesn't matter really so much what civs some guy was playing back in 2007 when, it's 2015 and we're playing in a cash money tournament. I guess it's not as important as sometimes I may think it is in my mind.
Well, to be fair, Kiljardi wrote the book, wrote the meta, so to speak. H2O certainly done that. I think SoldieR, perhaps not for Japan, but equally is certainly very good.
Yeah, H2O essentially did write the book on how you're supposed to play Japan.
Yeah, and France, I think, too.
Well, no,
that was a Samwise.
That was a Samwise thing.
Yeah, see. Good job we remember all of this. No one's really crediting or citing these. It's
yes. I feel like to some degree, like the Age of Empires 3, historian, right?
You basically are. Like your avatar is the wise old woman.
You have to, yeah, exactly. You have to write these kinds of things down. Like back in 2008, make sure it was known that Samwise perfected the build that is now properly used in all French mirrors. Like you have to have these little facts just ready to go and.
Makes you sound like a knowledgeable human being, but what do we have here? Forward aggro, not necessarily super aggressive like we saw in the last game that didn't really work out too well for SoldieR, but certainly forward.
Yeah, and aggressive enough. It doesn't need to be super far forward, like we saw on this particular map where India was played in the previous matchup as well, right? The point of having the aggro fort forward is more so to cut the map in half and to make it difficult for the monks to get back into these back portions of the map where these hunts eventually want to be shrined by the Japanese player. And by cutting off the monks and by separating the shrines with the aggro fort in this forward location, you're more so just ensuring that it's going to be difficult for your opponent to actually get back into that portion of the map and to consistently keep those hunts shrined more than anything else. And that's part of what putting the aggro fort forward here does.
There's that. Yep. And gives him perfect, as you mentioned, a perfect access to go and get those plays as you flared on the mini map.
Yep.
And equally be aggressive and equally go back to defend should he need to. It's a very centralized point that is nice.
And it also just gives him vision, right? I mean, it's a big frickin' fort in the middle of the map that's basically going to see...
Big frickin' fort!
It's going to see everything that comes through. Like, it's got all the choke points basically watched for.
There's one hell of a range on it as well.
Yeah,
that's
so...
impressive.
So that's a ternary reason why you put the aggro fort out in the middle of the map. Certainly just provides a lot of utility out there. Plus, hell, it looks good like on this map as well. Look at it. It blends in with the tile set really well. It looks like it belongs here in the middle portion of the map.
Our comments relevant and insightful as always. But 5 Sepoy coming out first batch there, along with a 5 Sepoy shipment as well. H2O. By the looks of this, playing something a bit more aggressive than perhaps normal, right?
Yeah, I think this
certainly
is...
not a 10-10.
It's not a 10-10, but this is I think this is the style that he prefers with India. And I think this is going to be good. This is going to be a lot of units for Japan to deal with. And even if 5 Yumi pop out right now, like, what are 5 Yumi going to do against this number of Sepoy? Like, it's going to be very, very difficult. And ooh, these villagers have been spotted here working their way to the...
Oh, wow. He thought he could get them out, get them to the back there, would they be completely safe? But actually, that was sending them to their demise. Look at this well, not aggressively trading off, but certainly making sure he can get this. I think the elephant might be able to finish those off. Certainly the area damage is going to be quite nice.
You could maybe drop like 1 Sepoy back and deal with those 2 villagers. Might be good.
Certainly they could come back in later on and grab these 2 low HP vills. But yeah, coming in before the wall was complete, doing a lot of damage, forcing the Century pop. And
what a stomp
then generally
as well. Got a stomp, huge stomp with this elephant. And now here come the Sours as well, going to be reinforced.
Sours coming in. Going to be very strong against those Yumi archers. Which is, there's no centuries now, they've already been called.
Yep, yeah, there's no anti-cav, and this is shaping up to be very, very difficult here for Soldier once again. Just now getting his monk into the mix. Maybe he could have been bringing his monks in to deal with some of this damage as well earlier on. Would have definitely helped, and this is going to be problematic for Soldier. How does he progress from here? This is the point where he's not going to be gathering any resources. He has fairly low shrine pop. He's only sitting at 100 shrine pop. And H2O's economy behind this isn't so bad. I mean, sure he shipped military units, but he didn't go with like the 10-10 style age up, so he didn't go completely all in with his build. He's forcing an equal number of military shipments to be sent from Soldier, and at the same time he's garrisoning basically every villager that Soldier has, so certainly advantageous in that regard as well. As the pressure just continues to mount, continues to pour in.
Continues to pour in, forced to send shipments like 5 Ashes, like 5 Yumis. And just to sort of stable against this, all his villagers still in the TC.
They're still in the town center. They're still, like, look at Soldier's population. He's at 19 total population. Has 15 villagers and 4 military units. Like, there's he just doesn't have anything on the map, as it were, right now.
And yeah, these shrines just gonna continue to go down as well. Certainly this one in this base. So those, I don't know. I think at some point H2O will sort of pull off a couple of units to dispatch these 4 shrines down the left-hand side of the map. I don't know. It's he's not looking in such a good spot.
Yeah, it's. I also like how these 2 camels haven't overcommitted underneath the base. They just continue to siege on the shrine, continue to poke in. And then when they have a chance to come in and actually do something, they do, and then they skirt back out and go back to sieging on this shrine a little bit. Slowly, this pressure is just continuing to build up, and Soldier is quickly running out of resources and running out of ways to deal with this pressure. Another villager goes down.
A couple of units coming out. The Shinobi, they're just going to get absolutely destroyed by the 3SR coming out. Of course, has been allied to the Ottoman. You do get those. Spend your export on that. And I don't think is SoldieR ever going to get enough export to ship Asterios?
He's already switched
done it.
He's already switched to the Japanese consulate and made Shinobi instead. And the answer is no.
I just saw the Shinobi.
Yeah, he's never going to get anything more out of there. I don't think he'll gather enough resources even to get up to 60 export, which is what it would take to make another unit from the consulate. I don't think that'll happen.
Obviously, villages have to be working to generate export. 5 Ashes popping out though. He's pulled some resources together, but it's not enough. I think what he needed there was for H2O to not notice and for him to continue sieging that. Of course. Oh wow! Look at the 5 shipment just popping out. If they popped out at the same time, it could have been a lot better.
And behind all this, the most important thing isn't just that this pressure is keeping SoldieR penned up in his base. Look at what H2O is doing behind this. Like, he's shipped 300 export. He's got diplomatic intrigue rolling. He's got himself foreign logging rolling. He's got 32 villagers. Like, it's not like he's all in at this point, right? Like, he's got a market up. He's got hunting eagles. He's got civil servants. He's training villagers from the Ottoman consulate. Like, his economy behind this is realistically quite good. And SoldieR's is just continuing to be in the gutter. And SoldieR knows it. He resigns.
There it is. H2O taking the 3rd game.
And I think that just kind of comes from, like, I don't think SoldieR is adequately prepared to play Japan versus that kind of aggression style. Like, I think his build just seemed a bit off. He was a bit indecisive with his consulate play. His walling wasn't super on point early. He didn't get like a full wall. If we recall in the previous game, H2O was very diligent about getting a full wall up around all of his resources. SoldieR never really had that established style to his base. Had too many holes, and the India player was just able to kind of blitz in and deal with that accordingly.
And certainly that. You have one fight. Well, perhaps the potential for up to 7 games, but the next match will be the decider for H2O.
Yeah, it's
if
match
it doesn't
point.
win it.
And he's got every civ available to him again now as well, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Looks like an India mirror on Mongolia.
India mirror? Yeah, no surprise.
Like,
I'll save that for the commentary.
Yeah. No surprise there. We've seen this like a billion times on SmackDown, right?
It's true. India mirror. Very fun. H2O still not fully greened up. Yeah, he could change if he wants to. I see no reason to, though. SoldieR ungreens as well, perhaps, has decided doesn't want to face H2O in a mirror. But,
I don't know that he has much of a choice here. Yeah, it looks like he's... I think you have to play India on this map. Like, realistically, at a high level, you have to play India on this map. Assuming you can't play Euro or Auto, because those are the only 2 civs that can potentially compete with India.
India is particularly good on Mongolia because, as we know, high yak map, and those give you a nice XP trickle. And indeed, there's not so many hunts on Mongolia, but there's enough for India. India traditionally don't need as many hunts as other civilizations, so up against other civilizations, they're equally as good, say, without as many hunts as other civs perhaps need. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, of course, the quarterfinals. Perhaps the final game. Match point indeed to H2O. The score is currently 3-1 in H2O's favour. SoldieR took the first game fairly convincingly and is indeed the only player to have taken a game from H2O this entire tournament.
If H2O wins this series 4-1, there's going to be like that one guy who bet like SoldieR losing 4-1 is going to be like super happy in that betting thing by Goodspeed.
There is. There's, yeah.
That one guy is about to be super rich.
By rich, we mean with imaginary fake points, and we're actually being serious. They're betting with fake points, like that are just for fun.
They're just made up. Like they're not even like there's no worth whatsoever to them.
Do you remember those PK dollars that weren't real? That is rather amusing. But off to a nice start. Both players looking for yaks. Both players grabbing that, of course, native scout that you get for free on this map. and we're going to be walking around, roaming the map here. You can see H2O very carefully sticking with these two yaks. They're they got converted. Not too good.
And he still got him back. SoldieR realized it's just a second too late.
Yeah, he had the ding in his sort of whatever it was.
He's gonna lose him again.
Is it? No, you have to get quite far away for to lose them. But escorting them back because, of course, doesn't want his opponent to take those. And there is that. And these things obviously are generating you a fair amount of XP. That's how they work for India. You can't eat cows, of course. There is that. But yeah, India mirror on Mongolia. I'm going to repeat this for the benefit of the VOD. But yeah, India, a very strong civilization. Actually, I'd probably just include all of that talk. So never mind. What do you think of this?
I'm curious to see what kind of builds we're going to see here. Wouldn't it be funny if we see like back-to-back aggro forts just like facing off here right in the middle? I think that's potentially something that could happen. I mean, obviously we've gone over before this map. Some of the most key aspects are maintaining control of the hunts in the middle portion of the map, and this is a situation where both players are going to want to be able to control hunts like this. And the way to do that is to use your aggro fort aggressively. And let's see whether or not either or both players decides to drop down a forward aggressive aggro fort, and it can lead up to some very like awkward games where like you have like aggro forts just kind of looking at each other and neither player really able to do anything about it because like it's just difficult to get around an aggro fort. And one thing I do want to point out, though, here, I still have the economy tab open. H2O has 13 yaks. SoldieR only has 5. That's almost triple the amount of yaks. That's a very large advantage.
But I think, though, he might end up losing this scout here. It's very far away from home. No, it's not. It's very close to home, actually. It's on the correct side. It's going to be perfectly okay. But for the longest period of time...
Be careful. There, okay.
Yeah, wow, that could have been...
It could have been.
Yeah, don't want to get too far away from those 4 yaks.
I would have swung it back 9-9.
Then it'd be pretty fine. Oh, picking up that 65 coin. Such an easy treasure to grab as India with the area damage on those weak monkey guardians. But yeah, picking that up, pretty nice. But yeah, for the longest period of time, he was attacking that, of course, that monk. But it's perfectly okay.
He's going to be safe. And here we do see... no, we don't. That's just the scout. Here we see SoldieR moving out a couple vills, likely to go down and get into position to start building an aggro fort. H2O looks like he is sending forward a villager as well, so we are going to see likely mirroring aggro forts here in the middle of the map, and they might be staring each other right in the face, trying to secure hunts. We can see SoldieR moving up to try and get... Oh, and H2O is so smart, just putting his monk in a position where he knows that... Look where he's standing his scouts. He's just trying to block the positioning for the aggro fort for as long as possible. And SoldieR wasting so much time trying to get the aggro fort down. Oh, so smart. He's just standing where he knows that SoldieR wants to build it. He's just identifying locations where it can possibly be built.
Delaying that so much. Look, he's grabbed himself a 15% advantage there. I am getting messages from Maito saying we've done goofed and we've selected the wrong map, but we're now 4 minutes into this. We're supposed to be on Manchuria, so maybe we'll just switch the positions, or we're really going to force them to restart. I think at this point we...
yeah.
Maito says just continue, and we'll switch the map positions and the thing.
Okay.
It's too late, he says. Whoops, we're supposed to be playing on Manchuria, but that's...
But we're playing on Mongolia. Oh, well.
Yeah. How much delay have you set, by the way?
2 minutes.
Or on OBS?
I've set it just via Twitch. Oh, I have 0 set, and I have 0 set on OBS.
So it is a net worth of 0. But yeah, no. What's going on in this game? We're gonna continue on this map.
Yeah, and we do see the mirroring aggros, and like you mentioned, like H2 is slightly further ahead. Fortunately, it's not going to set SoldieR back that detrimentally far. Like, it's not going to outright lose him the game. It's just a little bit of an advantage. Oh, wow, this villager might go down, though.
Wow, that's true. They've just been gangpiling that particular villager all this time. And wow, look at that, using the elephant to sort of block it, to slow it down, make sure it can't escape. That was, like, next level micro. Really nicely done. Yeah. He's not going to be happy about that. Losing a villager already. and his Yak's behind, and of course his age up is going to be behind. I think is he using extra villagers to build this because, or is H2O just using less because he knows he managed to delay the
H2O is just only using one. This is a huge hole that SoldieR finds himself in. Like
look at this brawling going on. Oh wow, there's such like archaic age fighting with all of these native scouts and stuff.
But now they're fighting underneath the aggro fort of blue, which is going to be advantageous once again for H2O. He's got the 2 Sepoy going to be joining in here, going into melee. And if he kills both of the scouts, that's just like, that's icing on the cake if he can get 1 or 2 of those scouts down.
Wow, look at that. One of them switching to range mode and walking forwards whilst the other's still snaring it in melee. Like, the control on here and using the hotkeys to switch, of course, combat styles, really, really nice. Getting as much damage on that as possible, and of course that's relevant because in this, in the first encounter, both players are going to want to have those scouts in the middle of the fight on the front. They have 400 HP each, sponge up the damage from your opponent, and if you manage to do a little bit of extra damage to those scouts, that's they're going to die sooner or later on. So just grabbing himself the small advantages, the small plays here.
Yep, and this is just such a good position for H2O to be in. Like you mentioned, up cows, up map advantage, and look at even throwing in a TP here as well. If he can get that up and stabilize behind that, that's just going to be even more detrimental for SoldieR. Upgrade-wise, everything is slightly in SoldieR's favor. We can see that, well, not even necessarily that. Imperial Bureaucracy finished at 6 minutes flat for H2O. That's fairly impressive.
Wow, that's really fast.
That's really fast. You usually don't see that until like 7.5 minutes at least.
Like in some games, we've been looking at that for like 12 minutes, though that's like for other civilizations, not necessarily India. But that's really fast out, and that's essentially like economic theory. That is better, I think. Yeah,
it's like 10% on all resources. It is very, very good.
Incredible.
One thing to note though behind this is that H2O hasn't built a military unit, and I think part of why he hasn't built a military unit is he's banking on the fact that SoldieR is scared. Like SoldieR knows that he got behind early in the game. He knows that his age up was slower because his aggro fort was blocked. He knows that he's behind economically because he lost a villager. He's got to know he's behind in XP because he doesn't have nearly as many cows as he would like to have. So he has to assume his opponent has more cows. He doesn't have a trading post. But all of these things lead up to him being very scared, and we can see that he's just standing his Sepoy safe. And what does H2O do as a result of that? He banks on the fact that his opponent is going to play reactively like that, doesn't make a single military unit, and just snowballs it into this huge economic lead with a very, very early trading post, a very, very early, like insane market upgrades, and even has his consulate up and finished much earlier than his opponent. He's looking to be in a really good economic state at this point in the game.
Really, really good. What do you think about perhaps even using that to go up to the fortress age, or is that a bit too much? Perhaps
I think
secure this.
That's a bit too much greed.
Yeah,
that's a bit too greedy.
Sit back with what he's established at this point. Now start making military once all of these upgrades are done and secured this lead, and can then just go ahead and, with all those upgrades behind him, just go ahead
power
and
his way through. Sure.
Yeah.
If he were to try and age at this point, he would just run into a situation where maybe SoldieR could just like right-click on top of his aggro fort and just outright win. I mean, at the end of the day, it is Mongolia. He does have limited resources. He can't use the cows to eat like other civs can. So, I mean, the fact that he has 13 cows is good in the regard that it gives him a lot of XP, but it doesn't give him an innate like food bonus. Like that's not like several thousand food that he's going to have at some point in the game. He's never going to be able to eat those cows. So he does need to secure hunts, and that's what he's doing right now. You can see he's...
They don't even fatten when under the control of India.
No, they don't. They stay their skinny little selves.
Yeah.
And it looks like SoldieR's going to push his way forward. And this is about as scary as it's going to be. If SoldieR is going to win the game, it's going to be right here and right now with this timing push, because we can see... compositionally, his army is very strong. He's got a good mix of Sepoy and Sawars, and if he can hit right now before H2O is ready, maybe he's got a chance. Minutemen being called from the aggro fort.
Minutemen, Ottoman, aggro fort, of course, coming out, but yeah, those are going to be useful in fighting for this. But yeah, the Sawars on top of those skirmishers wants to get on there, but they're moving them back. Has that one Sepoy in hand combat. The Zambarak's doing a good job shooting the units they need to be, killing, of course, the Ottoman
Minutemen cult
cavalry, but yeah, we see Gardner Hussars coming out as well.
Things looking okay for H2O. Honestly, he's stabilized. Minutemen are here in the mix. Hasn't really lost too many of his Gurkhas, being able to pick away at the Sepoy.
Big batch of Sawars coming in though. They're going to be pretty good against the Gurkha, but see, using the villagers to block the cavalry from getting into combat initially with those, of course, Gurkhas needs those cucumbers alive to do lots of damage to his opponent's Sepoy. Using the villagers here, sponging up damage with those as well, and as a result of that, has won this fairly convincingly. Now these guys can get back to work. Hasn't really lost many villagers.
Yeah, look at the score. Look at the villager count. Still 34 to 32 in favor of H2O. Still has the military advantage. Has the upgrade advantage as well. Remember, he's been working with Imperial bureaucracy this entire game. Has it already researched. SoldieR hasn't even researched it himself, so certainly an advantage that way. SoldieR also has the discrepancy that he hasn't got foreign logging sent. H2O does, so everything looking very, very good for H2O, and that's reflected heavily in the score. We can see H2O now nearly 40 score points ahead.
Yep, and we see SoldieR asks, "Why don't you come to me?" Well, I have all the upgrades. I'm just gonna wait here and let you come to me because I want to make use of my upgrades.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just continuing to build the advantage. We can see he's building a second trading site here in the north side of the map. He's just going to continue to snowball the advantage. I mean, H2O smart, realizing
plays very safe.
I mean, and to be fair, there's no reason for him to push out. The only way that he could like realistically probably lose from here is if he gets caught trying to like siege the Agra Fort or siege the town center, something where like units and Minutemen can all like come popping out at the same time, catch him in a bad spot, surround him, and kill him all at once. There's no reason for him to push out of his base right now until he's got just an overwhelming army advantage and he can just absolutely smash down for SoldieR's front door. And until that point is reached, there's really no incentive for him to come outside of his base, just because the one way that he can lose this game is by getting caught underneath a building that's shipping large quantities of units and Minutemen in combination, and
a batch of units perhaps on top of that kind of thing.
And smartly so, just identifying extra areas that he can improve on, getting all the TPs.
3 trading posts now.
Just improving everything all at once, keeping his army with his villagers so that they're always safely gathering, and just going to look to continue to build that advantage.
Yep, just going to wait here, get stronger and stronger. And as you say, as I said, he plays extremely safe, as H2O has always had that safe style. Perhaps could just go and finish out the game, but no, doesn't do that. Perhaps in a different matchup, both in Fortress 8 and like just add in town centers, even though he's super far ahead of us. Just going to sit here, snowball the lead, as you mentioned, and perhaps now he thinks, finally, he's at that critical mass where...
Yeah. He's still behind in military count, raw military count, because he's been investing so heavily in trading posts and extra military that he could still find himself a little bit exposed here if he goes too hard.
Yeah, and we have a fight here, even military population, but still, maybe what's his name? SoldieR can soldier his way into perhaps a military lead with some excellent micro, but these Zambaraks in the back clearing up these cavalry pretty nicely, and now his military population is mostly just these Minutemen.
Yeah. Hopefully there's a reinforcing batch of sours. Like H2O needs to mix a few sours into the mix here just to be able to deal with the Gurkha in the back line. If that happens, it's just icing on the cake.
In the queue we have sours, so I'm absolutely certain that they'll be here at some point. Yeah.
Look at H2O's upgrades as well. Like look at his recent shipments. Like he's just continuing to snowball this advantage.
Desert Terror, Camel Attack, yeah.
Even the extra hand attack upgrade.
Locking down all these super long-term upgrades that are gonna just really spiral the game.
Yeah.
4 trading posts as well. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And here come the sours, and that reinforcing batch of sours is going to be just what he needs to be able to actually finally push forward and deal with the Gurkhas effectively.
Yeah. But Tiger Claws pop out. Wow, okay, these shipments, these are pretty good against infantry. These things are really quite strong, though not so good against the Zambaraks, I don't think, but still certainly quite a power spike. You get quite a lot of those units for what you pay for, but I don't think Tiger Claws are going to cut it.
Not going to be quite enough.
They need to be fighting the Gurkha, right? It seems like...
One-time spike, I mean, certainly... okay in this regard, but they're not the thing that's going to get him back into the game and immediately win him the game.
Yeah, and he's got Sours down here, which will no doubt join, as you mentioned, join the fight.
Yep. And when he does get more Sours, I mean, he can do anything he wants right now. He can even age. He can whatever he feels most comfortable with. He's actually got 2 stables up right now. If he just gets, I think we're just going to see one of those like classic H2O like huge tech timing switches. Like he's just going to dump all his resources into making 20 Sours and then just like push in and
just completely surprise your opponent with just a massive switch of units. Yeah.
And the thing is, these Sours are so strong right now as well, right? Like we just mentioned, they have these Sours
and Camel attack behind,
and the other one too. Dravidian martial arts, or whatever it's called, affects all hand attacks, which includes Sours. So it's like three upgrades to his Sours right now.
Wow,
so,
29 hand attack,
yeah.
247 hit points with a ×2 damage multiplier. Versus these things are essentially Hussar level with a ×2 damage multiplier,
yeah.
And they cost less.
They're insane, and they're faster.
A lot faster, yeah. Camels there, but being caught, sending 2 back, that's unfortunate for him. But he's not really going to be too upset about that, considering where he's at. But these coming in perhaps for a cheeky raid, but being caught shouldn't matter too much, though.
Yeah. At the same time, did pick off a couple villagers down here to the south side of the map as well.
Yeah.
So certainly going to be okay with that.
Wow, here come the redcoats as realigned to the British by the looks of it, and spent his export on those, pulling everything together now for that push.
Yeah, and still just playing so safe. Doesn't want to get caught overcommitting underneath Dagger 4, but look at the military. Like, just, it's looking so more and more scary. Every time I look at it, it's just getting bigger and bigger. I'm going to pick up a nice little treasure here as well.
300 XP.
Export.
Export?
XP,
well, that'd be an interesting treasure.
300 XP, yeah.
That 300 export.
Imagine if there was an export treasure.
It would be completely useless to the majority of the
majority of the civs, but it would be an interesting treasure for civs that were export dependent, and maybe it could be based on what civ you were. Like for some civs it would be XP, and for some civs it would be export.
Gonna pick himself up 455 food as well. This is so safe. Not gonna commit to a fight. Just gonna use his current military here whilst it's growing. Whilst he knows he's getting stronger relative to his opponent.
Well, and he's
gonna pick up these things.
Time. He's aging.
Yeah.
Like, look at he.
Oh, that'd be why he doesn't want to push.
Off the back of this, he's like going to be in the 3rd age. He's just going to dump all of his resources into upgrades and just going to like be even stronger yet. Like, plus he's already got the cards going for him. There's no reason, like, he might as well play it the proper way. The proper way to play it is just continue to play it safe. He's got complete map control. He's got the unit composition advantage. And at this point, I guess he just feels there is no reason. Look, even dumping the double rack so he can just pump out his upgrades really, really quick. And I mean, it's really up to SoldieR. SoldieR has to do something. SoldieR knows he's behind. He's been behind this whole game.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's waiting for SoldieR to come to him. You cannot get safer.
Yeah. And look at the score. It's just continuing to balloon in H2O's favor. Even standing like his Zam's right on top of his coin mine knows that's the only way he can maybe lose is if he gets raided really hard.
Shaman Gates are up there. Red coming in. They're going to lose a couple of villages, but shouldn't be too important. 10 villager lead still even after that, essentially.
Yeah.
Red, though, can he make something happen? I don't
now
think so.
H2O's identified where the army is. He's got all the upgrades coming. Discipline Gurkhas is nearly researched. Discipline Zam's nearly done. And when those come in, I think we're going to see this fight come to a head and likely the game come to an end as well.
Yeah, you can even just get involved right now. The upgrades are basically there. Yeah, there it is. We see the fight coming forward. Lots of Sours. Going to get into combat with, of course, those Disciplined Gurkha. Quite a few Sours currently taking up that Mahal. They do go down, though, now. Going to surround on the Gurkhas. Looking really good, but at the same time, there are an absolute ton of Disciplined Zamraks in the back. Those things on the front, these Sours going to go down super quickly. And then once that's the case, it's just going to be who has the biggest cucumber mess. And, well, the Set Boys behind it. Sorry, the Disciplined Zamraks behind it.
There's GG.
There's the GG. SoldieR takes the loss there. Does beat H2O in the series, though. First person to beat H2O, but SoldieR, H2O, is through to the round of 8, or the round of 4 even, the
semi-final.
Semi-finals, where he will compete against somebody.
Do you know who he plays? Does he play Veni or does he play Negayumi?
H2O will be up against Veni, yeah. Veni versus H2O. That'll be an interesting matchup. The two people we saw go through today will indeed be fighting off against each other. The other matches have been played. They are available on Veni's YouTube channel, I believe. I will link that to everybody. And in fact, there are a lot of matches available on Veni's YouTube channel. Alternatively, you can look in the playlists on my channel. All of Veni's commentary is in there. The commentary we did together, but also the commentary on his own. But if you want to watch, if you need to see things come out live, then Veni's channel, certainly a very good YouTube channel as well. Lots of non-tournament related stuff to catch up on. So, any concluding thoughts on this match, though?
Congratulations to both players. Congratulations to SoldieR for winning a game, because honestly, I didn't think that was going to happen. And naturally, congrats to H2O for advancing in a predictable fashion, but in a very solid showing nonetheless, being able to edge out SoldieR, a historically strong player, and secure his spot in the best of, or in the round of 4. So good.
Yep.
Good job by both of the players. Definitely a fun series to cast and watch, and I'm glad that there was 500 people here witnessing it with us.
I think we peaked at 517, according to MC Jim. It may have gone higher during that match. I'm not entirely sure.
That, though, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the series. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. But SoldieR took a game off H2O. He is no longer undefeated. What a series. Yep. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.